So, Martin said something about how it only requires small amounts of uranium. Well, we're only creating another problem, yet again. We're shifting from our dependency on coal and on certain countries, and we're moving this dependency on other countries. Yes, maybe a lot of countries, or more countries have uranium, but not all countries have uranium. And this is a problem. We're just shifting our dependency onto something else. And when they started building coal plants, they didn't know what the outcome would be. They didn't know that in 50 years we'll have climate change. But today, we know that in 50 years, these are going to create problems for us. We know this. We know this because uranium is going to die out. We know this because people are fighting over uranium. We know that these are going to become expensive and competitive. We know that right now they're cheap because people don't use them. Once we make them popular, people are going to start fighting for them, and they're going to become expensive. He wanted something about a comparative price between nuclear energy and actually the existing coal plants. According to the 2003 MIT study and a 2004 study by researchers at the University of Chicago, I think everyone here trusts those sources, both of which advocated the pursuit of nuclear power. Electricity from nuclear power plants is likely to cost between 6 and 7 cents per kilowatt hour. By contrast, new coal-fired plants produce power at about less than 4 cents per kilowatt hour. We do not advocate for coal power plants, but right now we live in a world where developing countries do not have electricity. And if at these low prices with coal they don't have electricity, they'll never have electricity with nuclear energy. We are not solving a problem. These poor countries are still there. They're still not having a solution. They're still stuck in their stupid climate crisis, and they're still stuck without electricity. We are selfish, and this is a problem here. We cannot just think of ourselves, our developed nations, we're producing pollutants, we'll just cater to our needs so we can produce more pollutants. No, we cannot do this anymore. Denied. The other thing was regarding shelters and whatnot. Well, think of it this way, in simple terms. You're creating a burden for yourself that will last 10,000 years. Whether or not you'll deal with the waste, well, maybe I'm a great person, I'll deal with the waste today. 10,000 years from now, someone will not deal with this waste, and it will be there. The other thing is that 75% of France's electricity is depending on nuclear power plants. But in France, in 2006, in Normandy, there was a leakage. And this happens in even the most developed countries. No, it's not just Chernobyl. There are many examples. One of them is actually in France, and 3 Mile Island, and a billion other examples that come up year after year. I will rebuild our arguments regarding it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Well, it's dangerous in its waste. People can steal it and make dirty bombs out of it. It's dangerous because it releases emissions, and we do not need this. It's expensive. People cannot afford this, especially the people that need it the most. There are other solutions. Yes, we can be more efficient. We can stop being selfish and stop thinking of ways to justify our actions. We can actually cut down our actions. And the justice issue. Well, yes, people are going to keep minding this, and people are going to keep having those problems, and the burden is going to be still there. They're not solving anything. It's not our burden to provide another solution, but their solution is definitely not the right one. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Rita for her speech, and now open the debate up to the floor, to the audience, you guys. Do we have anybody who has a question or a statement to make against the proposition? I'd like to recognize the gentleman in the yellow t-shirt. Stand up, please.
Can I clarify something also?
You say whatever you like.
All right. When we spoke about that one village in India, there are 26 villages in India which have that. So that was wrong information from your part. The second thing is that even though France and Belgium have over 50% of their electricity as nuclear energy, they signed a pact in, I think, 2002 or 2003, which stated that they will reduce and they will phase out nuclear energy because of the environmental reasons. And number 3, when you talk about the Chernobyl incident and just like 100,000 people dying, firstly I think that is morally wrong of you just saying that, and you can't justify it by saying that, oh, 1 million other people died because of other reasons, so it doesn't matter that 100,000 just died because of that. Nuclear energy, nuclear waste releases this gas called radon-22. It's a gas which is very dangerous, and that is the gas which affects people, which affects, like people are born without noses, eyes, ears. Imagine your children being born without that. So I don't get how you're seeing it. And it's not just one huge explosion of Chernobyl, but it's just that insidious gas that is going on. And what do you have to say about it?
Response to the...
No, you respond in the reply speech. Okay, do we have a question for the opposition? Comment for the opposition. I recognise the gentleman in the orange.
even if we accept that there is some real danger with nuclear energy on the one hand, and we have real danger with the climate now, in the past several years, it's become clear that climate change is worse than even scientists expected. And it's getting worse and worse, and we don't know how quickly it's going to spiral out of control. So, at what point would you, if things really get worse, and it's obvious that all the reforms that we environmentalists are trying to put through are too little, too late? Is there a point where you would agree that nuclear energy would just be the smaller risk because the environment is really, I mean, the world is going to destroy its ecosystem very rapidly unless we take immediate action? At what point would you change your mind?
Thank you for that question. Now, another comment directed to the proposition team. I'd like to recognise the gentleman from Fiji.
I have a question. If you only take a couple of grams, or if you use a couple of grams of uranium, right, to create so much energy for months, wouldn't the little waste create so much devastation as well?
Thank you for your comment. Any comment related to the proposition? I'd like to recognise the opposition. I'd like to recognise the gentleman at the back.
Yeah, I want to clarify also one thing. Renewable energy right now is extremely inefficient. Facts show you today that you'd require a solar panel the size of Europe to fuel London. Now, concerning climate change, which is such an urgent situation, and you need a very fast solution, do you really think that is there any other method, aside from nuclear energy, which does pose a minor threat, as John has said, but climate change threatens the whole world, a global threat, which will probably lead to millions of displaced refugees, millions of diseases spreading, beyond sea level rise, and oceans acidifying, and all the things we studied today in theory.org. So the fact that renewable energy is extremely, right now the technology is not developed enough. What other solution do you have in the very near future to take aside from nuclear energy?
Okay, we're going to have one more comment for each side. Speech against the proposition. I'd like to call upon the gentleman in the front row.
I think all humans are equal, so you can't say what's 4,000 people that are dying facing 1 million people who are dying. I think everyone's equal.
Thank you. Any final comments directed to the opposition? Yeah, I'd like to recognise the lady in the front row.
Hi. I would like to tell you that, as Joe said, this is unacceptable, that either we die all or not. We're doing the same mistakes. That, okay, we'll provide nuclear energy and then we will make